Okay, so before we get on to the exciting new launch, it would be good perhaps just to start with a little refresh on Efficiency IT, just I guess the sort of key milestones along the company's journey to date, if you can do that.
Yeah, of course. So founded in 2016 by a bunch of by a team that have been working together for a good amount of time before that, and the focus was value over sales. So it's, you know, obviously it's a sales organization, but the drive really was delivering value in a really evolving marketplace. So 2016, 2017 formed. By the time we got to 2018, we were up at 8 staff, I think, and we started working with the Wellcome Sanger Institute, and we've done a lot of work with those guys on their edge facilities and their supercomputer data center. So we've done a lot of work around the software world and optimizing and making their environment more efficient. So that was a big piece of work we did. 2020, we started working with 8x8 from a UCaaS perspective. And up to about 14 staff by then. And in the background, of course, since 2017, we've been building modular facilities in the background. It's just never been something that we've talked about openly for obvious reasons. So here we are, 2023. Can't believe we're almost at Easter, by the way, 2023, and we're going to go for it. Launch the modular offer that we've been working on in the background for a while.
Yes, as you say, that's what we're talking about. So you are, as you say, you've been doing it sort of unofficially, but you're now officially launching a
officially, unofficially. It's a great product, and you know we've been talking about modular, and our partners have been talking about modular for a long time now. Early days, it kind of felt like a bit of a round peg, square hole kind of approach. You know, every opportunity, every discussion, you know, needed to be about modular or prefabricated. So it took a bit of a while to really pick up, but now really it's become the go-to option for many organizations, enterprises, edge, colos, even the big hyperscalers. You know, everybody is using a prefabricated component of some form in what they do on a day-to-day basis at the moment. So we're a slightly more customer centric or specific, you know, bespoke, tailored solution. So we take rather than having a standard module, a standard option, or a standard design, it's very much based on what the customer actually needs. So it's application specific rather than trying to shoehorn a standard design into an environment where something more customized is needed.
Yeah, and so ModularDC is the name, and in terms of what you're offering, you say obviously it is heavily customized, but you're offering some power modules, I think cooling modules, and all-in-one modules. So can you sort of give us a sort of handle on what each of those means?
Yeah, of course. Probably the most popular pair would be power modules or the all-in-one modules. So I'll start with those. So a power module really is exactly what it says on the tin. It's the power component. So that would comprise of some kind of switch gear, so LV switch gear, and it would include UPSs and batteries, and then the other components that are required to support the end users' needs. And that kind of need would be, we need to upgrade a UPS, or we need to replace the UPS. We'd like to take the space back inside our building, for example. So by taking the modular prefabricated approach, we can create them something more application specific away from their building. So give them, ultimately give them back some space. So power module wise, we can go up to, anywhere from 500 to a meg to 2 meg, but as low as 50, 100 kilowatts. It all depends on the size, and because it is a modular outdoor facility, we can pretty much go to whatever size a customer likes. Then it's the all-in-one style, which includes power, cooling, compute, so racks, fire suppression, containment, all of the things you'd see in a traditional data center or a server room. to be honest. But the beauty with an all-in-one prefabricated system is that we can really do anything. We've got customers that are operating plus 20, 30 kilowatts per rack in HPC style, high performance computing modular facilities, as well as 2 or 3 kilowatts in a rack. We've got customers that have 10-foot modules that just have a couple of racks in them. We've got customers that have got 30 racks in a facility. Really application specific and bespoke engineering are the key elements to this. So it comes down to what the customer needs, what their business needs, and that's where we've tried to take ourselves rather than having standard offers. And then the cooling module is kind of an add-on to either of those other modules, where you might want to have. It's all about being able to move infrastructure around nice and easily. And the beauty of a prefabricated cooling module is that you don't have to ship plant externally. So you could ship, almost in a dedicated module, external chillers with all the associated pumps and controls, or you could ship a module with it, which is just the external condensers. It just means that you're able to move that equipment around the world very easily, rather than having to then send a team on site to, build a concrete pad or, all that kind of stuff. So it just enables us to be able to control the process, and that's quite important with the kind of customers that we're dealing with. Control the process, manage the delivery, and then actually you can, bolt an external modular system, alongside an all-in-one IT module, for example, and that would have maybe the external air conditioning components. So it's all about, it's a word you'll hear me talk about a lot, but it's application specific. So there's either a lot of cooling if it's high density, or there's not much cooling if it's a lower density application.
So in terms of you've alluded to the application, as you say, application specific as well, but customizable. I think security is potentially something that's important to, and it sounds as if you're describing sort of what I call not exactly one-off, but sort of outside of the normal data center. You're catering for sort of, as you say, specific requirements, as opposed to I just want a normal data center. It's a bit more than that, yeah.
Yeah, and we cater for both in the technology sector. Everybody ultimately needs something along these lines, or could use something along these lines. Life sciences is a world where they have to move very quickly. So based on what the science dictates, based on what scientists dictate, based on what the research needs. So that's driven by science, and that's driven by delivering science rapidly. Just look at the COVID pandemic and how quickly organizations had to react and mobilize and deliver at scale, compute, research, all that kind of stuff. So it's about the ability to deploy rapidly is one of the key areas, but also in other sectors, the ability to secure a facility in a much more advanced fashion is absolutely essential. And it's not just the security that you can see, the physical security. It's also about mitigation and attenuation, and that's where we find ourselves working with government organisations, where we need to acoustically attenuate a facility by using, a specific kind of build material, specific kind of hardware on the module to create barriers and breaks, so that sound and signals can't penetrate, be move in as well as move out. But also, interestingly, we're seeing some of these kind of attenuation technologies happening within buildings. So I don't know whether you've heard the word SCIF, but it's a secure area, it's a secure room, and we're seeing those actually within buildings, within commercial headquarters as well. So it's not just modular and technology. People are building boardrooms and meeting rooms with this kind of sound and signal attenuation. So it's not new technology. It's just now being deployed much more. But we see it more in the world of government and defence, military, where these kind of technologies are being deployed for obvious reasons. I can't really go into it, but you can understand why a facility for the government or for a military group would need to have that kind of security. Physical security, obviously very important. So how you get in, how you get out, but it's the stuff that you can't see, which is really quite interesting. And that's where I think we are different to some of the other manufacturers, because we're able to customize and design using far more stringent and sometimes difficult, I would say, technologies to provide some of that mitigation. So it's not off the shelf. It is quite specific.
And to that point, I believe you manufacture in the UK, so that obviously that gives you the advantage to to make the customized parts. But I'm just thinking in terms of resilience. You mentioned, I think earlier, speed to market, and potentially a sustainability angle, I guess, in terms of your supply chains a lot shorter.
Absolutely. So the scope 2 and scope 3 are important. That we can't do a huge amount, but where we can influence those areas, we do. Manufacturing in the UK gives us control. Really, we're able to then make the whole process for the customer much more specific, much more controlled. We're able to validate all the components. We're able to control the manufacture of the module, so we're able to test at various stages during the process. We're able then to provide customer a fully tested platform before it even leaves our facility. Though we're able to do fat tests, we're able to get the customer along to have a look and understand how the system operates. Ultimately, like a factory acceptance test process, we're able to do that for the customer. So pre-engineered, pre-tested, these are all things that ultimately reduce emissions and improve sustainability. It's a fairly well-known fact that off-site modular build is a far more sustainable approach, but it's only relevant to certain industries or certain technologies, and this is one of them. So yeah, it's about control, and it's about being able to make sure that we own the process from the very start, from a structural perspective to a security perspective, and that way we're able to control and manage the process from design really to completion.
Yeah, and I'm wondering, in terms of the customizable angle, are your customers able to specify, if they've got a particular, UPS company that they want you to involve, are you able to be flexible, or do you have alliances with preferred part? Do you have a preferred solution and then you might be flexible as required, or how does that sort of, how customizable are you in terms of what can go in there?
Application specific again is really probably the key. We have a preferred relationship with Schneider Electric, as you know, so we tend to stick with their products by and large. But and there's it's a big but. If a customer has a specific technology that they have to work with or must work with, then that's never an issue. I will say it's down to what the customer needs. So if we are delivering a particularly high density application, then some of the things that we might have to look at would be different kind of cooling technologies. If the demand is outside of the parameters of a traditional solution, then we would have to look at a more bespoke product. It's down to the technology ultimately, and this is where I talk about being application specific. So if you had a 150 kilowatt per rack cooling demand, where would you be going these days? You would only be going with direct liquid cooling, and that's where we'd be working with people like Isotope or similar manufacturers out there. So really application specific. Sometimes the decision is taken out of our hands and it's technology driven, but by and large, it's by and large, we tend to work with Schneider on most things, just because their position in the marketplace, the reliability, they have a worldwide coverage, and some of the products that we build go to some far-flung places. So a worldwide reach is absolutely essential, and that service and maintenance cover from the manufacturer is absolutely vital. But I would say absolutely 100% modular, 100% customizable, application specific, customer and technology orientated, but our preferred solution set where we have the most knowledge and the most skill in-house would be around the Schneider, the APC and Schneider range of technology. Also from a sustainability perspective, they're probably best of breed in most of the categories. So when you're talking about the most efficient kind of cooling platforms, the most efficient UPSs, it's not an advert for Schneider, but they're pretty much up there, with all of the technology that they deliver. And if you're talking about operational efficiency, it's not just energy efficiency, it's also operational efficiency. Having your UPS, your cooling, your physical security, your power distribution, your metering, your LV, having that all manufactured by a single company means that monitoring, management, visibility, improvement, and having that single pane of glass view of your estate, it is massive. From my perspective, I think the ability to seamlessly monitor and manage your platform is absolutely crucial, and that's where operational efficiency. Do you have to send your engineer out, 10 times a day, 20 times a week, or can you manage and control everything remotely? That's one of the benefits of working with a single manufacturer. And Schneider, again, it's not an advert for Schneider, but Schneider are best of breed probably in most of these areas. So probably a longer answer than you're expecting.
No, that's all good. And and your modular DC range, as I understand it, sort of complements Schneider, because obviously Schneider themselves do prefabricated data centers. So for a potential customer, I'm just wondering, if they approach Schneider for something, Schneider will potentially push them in your direction and vice versa. How do you manage, where a customer should go, whether it's yourself or Schneider for
you've hit the nail on the head actually in that statement. Schneider will decide if somebody comes to Schneider and it's something that falls within their remit, then it's a Schneider solution. If it's something more bespoke where we need a different kind of technology or heightened security, then Schneider will work with us. It's absolutely technology and application specific. If you're Google or if you're Microsoft, then you're probably going to Schneider directly, because they have the scale, they have the size, they have the scale, and they have the technology. We work in a smaller subset of those kind of areas. Our scale isn't that of Schneider, but where we have advantages is speed of deployment, and the customizable application and business specific approach. That's where customers work with us, and of course it's a completely complementary solution to the Schneider solution, but we're just able to finesse and localize a little bit more easily. That makes sense. So you're completely complementary, but just a little bit. We're possibly a little bit less, a little bit easier to work with, scale and agility. One of the things that people often look for as well is because of some of the customers that we work with, most of our engineering team have got government clearance. So certain environments require that, which means that we're able to work on particular projects and access particular parts of the world. So again, comes down to the customer needs, the customer requirements, and being able to offer the right package, the right solution.
Okay, and I'm thinking I might have saved one of the best bits till last. So you're very proud of, and rightly so, as I understand it, the immersive design process, where you're using sort of augmented reality to sort of guide the customers through what it is they're wanting and how you can help them, show them. So yeah, please tell me more about that.
So it's derived during COVID, and we had to operate. We had to operate. People still needed to deliver stuff, and certainly during COVID, we had no way of helping customers with that process. And certainly in the life science as well, we had customers that really needed to move very quickly, but we had no way of demonstrating. We couldn't do site visits. We couldn't take them to Barcelona, for example, to look at the Schneider offer. We couldn't take them to our facilities to show them anything really. So we had to think very fast on how we could provide our customers with a way of approving a design, or getting a better handle on what it is what they wanted, what it is we could offer, what it is their package would look like. So one of our brain boxes decided to look into the world of gaming and virtual reality. So that's where we came up with the concept. So we create a 3D model using industry standard architectural platforms, and then we take it one step further. Once we have that 3D model, that 3D render, if you like, then we move it into another software platform, which creates a virtual reality world. And one of our engineers created a virtual reality setup. I think it's probably using Xbox technology, and we were able to move the software platform into that virtual reality world. Ultimately, it's gaming technology, right? It's gaming style renders. It's very, very close to reality. So we're able to walk the customer literally through walls. We generally use the door, but we can float through walls and UPSs and cooling units. But we can actually take the customer directly into any kind of facility that they want to. So if it's a big 100 rack prefabricated solution from Schneider Electric in Barcelona, for example, then we can do that. If it's a much smaller 2 rack, 10 rack, 20 rack solution, we can similarly do the same thing. And it's as close to real as we could get it, really, without being able to take people into an actual warehouse or manufacturing plant. It's as close as we could get to showing them what their design looked like. And it's a really good way of helping people understand, I wanted this. We said to the customer, not quite going to work. Why is it not going to work? This is what you want. Oh, it doesn't work. I might have told you it doesn't work, but I'm glad that you realised it doesn't work. So this is what we think would work. Oh, that works much better. So, a customer really needs to understand what it is they're paying a lot of money for, and this was the best way that we could get to the position where we could show them what they were wanting, and from a sales and a design and a consultancy perspective, it was game changing for us. It enabled us to keep designing and keep supporting customers throughout COVID, and even more so now, where we're dealing with organisations that are not just UK based, all over Europe and the Middle East, but even in this day and age where we're still using Teams and Zoom to do a lot of the work we do, which is great, by the way. I think it's a brilliant way forward. The ability for a customer or a team to actually help us design something that ultimately they're gonna be using for 5, 10, 15 years is a fabulous sales tool, not only for us, but a design tool for our customers and end users. So it's game changing, really. Absolutely game changing. And it's now I guess now I would consider it a sales feature, if you like, of being able to really understand what it is you're buying very early on in the process.
Okay, and just maybe in terms of wrapping up, the opportunity you've identified, do you think it's what you call a fairly steady one, or would you anticipate? I mean, I'm thinking, for example, if autonomous vehicles ever do actually, sort of hit the big time, the idea of having a secure, okay, they might want fairly standard, but it still would need to be somewhat bespoke, maybe, data centers, etc. Do you anticipate that at some stage there will be certain apps which will give you a significant sort of extra business, or is it sort of you see it still just as a more steady thing for, you know, those customizable applications, whether you say defense, government, etc.?
I see its applications as absolutely numerous and varied. I think autonomous vehicles, absolutely. The edge, whatever in whatever form the edge takes, is absolutely crucial. And I think modular and prefabricated, pre-engineered designs that are standard and scalable and constant are a huge benefit. Are going to be a huge benefit to the likes of all of those car manufacturers, to the likes of edge providers, to the likes of the telephony providers, to the network providers. The ability to roll out a standard product very quickly without too much regulation. I don't know whether that's the right thing to say, but of course, being a modular unit, the constraints about where you put them are certainly less than a traditional stick-built environment. So anywhere that needs to deploy at speed, this is perfect. Anywhere that needs to deploy secure and quickly and ruggedized, this is perfect. And I think autonomous vehicles absolutely fits into that category. I think network edge, colo, the hyperscalers, you know, they are all going to need more infrastructure at more locations from a latency perspective. Science is absolutely going to need more of this kind of technology. The way that we are researching and solving problems with people's health, that's going to require technology. You think about what the world can do up at Cambridge. That kind of genomic technology is going to feature more and more as it develops. So many different applications. Everybody is going to many applications, and most people are going to be able to use a modular style of technology at some point in the future. I think it's difficult to put a name on a particular industry, but I think it's definitely going to pick up even more. I don't think it's going to be steady. I think the curve is quite positive, and especially the larger organizations where they are ordering, you know, multiple units at a time, because it's, you know, they're able to just roll a power skid, you know, a 1 meg or a 2 meg, or you know, roll a power skid straight into a building and turn that power on. That is the benefit of modular and prefabricated. It has its roots all the way up in those hyperscalers, but that technology and that improvement in technology and that flexibility of design and that application and bespoke technology specific design is massive. You know, it's far easier to build something off-site, deliver it to site in a fully working format than, you know, stick built, you know, inside a building or whatever it may look like. So multiple applications, but certainly a very exciting technology opportunity at the moment.
Okay, well, it's been great to chat to you, Nick, as ever, and appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed.
Pleasure. Thanks, Phil.